Hey folks, how's it going? Quick update on the Spitfire here. Like my new workbench. This is just some super cheap pegboard hook and a bunch of zip ties and little clamps like those. So this is the original harness out of the Spit. This is pretty much complete except for the harness that goes to the headlights, which is pretty much going to stay in the car as is, and the harness to the tail lights, which is just really long, and I don't know the exact length of it because I spliced two of them together to get the right one, but I know the wires that go to those. So I've been really, struggling is the right word, but definitely been working on the harness for the car. This is all the new stuff. So we've got our fuse panel, and what I've been doing is trying to bundle stuff by destination and use. So here we've got ignition switch, which has like five wires with one that's split out for no appreciable reason. But each of the sections of the car is bundled that way. This is kind of how the harness came to me, except that it only had 4 bundles, and they are not quite correct for this car. The biggest problem being that my ignition switch is in the dash, not in the steering column. Furthermore, there's some extra circuits that I don't need, so this is the diagram. I've reused, I had a electric choke line there. I'm reusing that for fog lights, which I don't have yet, but I'm gonna run the wires. I'm not sure about, I'm not going to use the hazard switch right there. I don't think that the car doesn't have one. I don't really see it being strictly necessary, and I don't really want to mess with it. I could put it in. We'll see how much bulk it adds. Right now it's super ridiculously long wires for it. But yeah, so I've been also working on a spreadsheet here. I know this is a terrible way to do a screenshot, but I don't care. So this is broken out by kind of the region of the car. So we've got front car, the dash, wooden dash, gauges, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to wire this stuff in for the breakaways. The biggest weather pack connectors I've got are 6-prong. So I'm trying to optimize this for that solution. So for the wooden dash, I've got a 4 and a 6, and another 6 probably. It's only 5. Actually, that'll be a 4 because I've got to splice 2 of these wires together. The ignition switch on this car is not what you would use in a modern car, obviously. I went ahead and reverse engineered it, which is basically just probing it with a multimeter while I turned stuff. But so those are so battery in, run, and start. There's no accessory position. The switch can rotate back to accessory, but it doesn't seem to be connected internally. And I don't really plan on sitting there listening to the radio or anything. I'd rather just leave it out. So I've got to splice the accessory harness to the rest of the car, to the rest of the accessory stuff. I've still got to figure out how the fuse panel is wired, because they didn't really give you a breakout or an actual diagram of how this thing is. They just sort of expect you to trust it. For one thing, the radio connection there is a single point, single wire that's constant, radio constant power. There it is right there. Radios need constant and they need ignition switched. And this, I think, is ignition switched. Anyway, I did mount the harness back in the factory location. I know I was talking about putting it in the footwell, but some of the dash wires, I was really concerned about their length. Now that I have this laid out, I'm not super worried about that anymore, but I don't want to push my luck. So it can go in the stock place, and we'll be good there. But yeah, theoretically, I can start applying. I'll put the new harness on top of this Ziploc ratchet strap it down, these things, zip ties, yeah, those. Put it on top of there and start tracing it out. Or I might trace all the wires here, label everything as to where it goes, and then pull this one off and reuse the hard points that I put down. You can see there's a bunch there. And there's some things like this whole bundle goes to the voltage regulator stabilizer thing, the giant Lucas box of maddening. Yeah, so this thing. And I did label everything. It's not great because I wasn't really in a huge, I didn't really need to be perfect here. I just wanted to get it out of the car. But I'm not going to use that. I've got a alternator from a Ford Fiesta from like 1980. It's supposedly a bolt-in replacement, and I'm not gonna. The instructions I found online say to bypass the coil or that thing, and I'm not gonna do that because I'm just not gonna run it. But I do need to figure out how to get like a. There should be an ignition light, which should be pretty straightforward, and a light that says, hey, I'm not charging, basically. And I think that's some sort of an OR gate. I'm not sure. But I think I can make that work. I can look it up and figure out how to do it with what I've got. So yeah. But this jumble is somewhat organized. It doesn't look like much, but the idea is that each section can be broken away. So here's, I think this all goes to the coil, and you can tell I've got miles of wire, and I really only needed, I think, about that much from the fuse to the coil. So I'm gonna have a ton of extra wire, but I am short on some stuff, I think. We'll see. I'm probably gonna just, I don't know, I may de-loom everything, try to lay it out, de-loom it, and detangle it, despaghettify it. We'll see. I did, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm not planning on running headlight relays yet. The car doesn't have them to begin with, and I think I might put LED headlights in at some point that look a little bit newer, but I think that'll be okay. Or maybe sealed beam replacements with H4 LEDs. I don't know. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching.